Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. Please excuse the background. I'm still working on getting the camera stuff ready and squared away for this sort of venue, but here we go. So, my name is Steve Leskovec, and I am a financial coach. I work on life skills courses for building life skills courses for late high school, early college folks. I live in Concord. I have three adultish children. One of them lives with me between 20 and 23. Been a nurse, registered nurse for over 30 years, and I have an MSN, Master's of Science in nursing education. Actually had some experience as a college professor, and I love teaching. So I appreciate you tuning in. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Had some financial struggles in my past, and when I learned how to manage things right, I was able to move on with some peace. So the agenda for this meeting is going to be the current financial crisis we have, and this is again addressed towards people who own or manage businesses, and then the solution. Now you notice on the agenda the 7-step process and the budgeting process. Those are going to be covered next week, so be sure to tune in. So let's get going without any further delay. I've got to move the screen here. There we go. Again, getting used to Zoom, right? We all are, huh? All right. So, question I want you to ask yourself is, what statistics or what thoughts have you heard regarding the financial health of individuals in our country today? Have you heard that people are doing okay? Have you heard that we're all struggling financially? And I'm not talking just about during COVID. I'm talking pre-COVID as well. Think about that for a brief second. What have you heard in the media? What have you read? The actual statistics we found show that the average person is $38,000 in debt, personal debt. 25% of that debt is credit cards. The remainder is all personal loans, medical bills, mortgages, and student loans. Student loans are a killer. There's over $1.6 trillion in student loan debt in the country today. These are predatory lenders. A lot of them have just interest-only payments, and those interest-only payments, as you can imagine, don't cover principal. So these loans are with people for their lifetime. In some cases, the amount of the monthly payment doesn't even cover interest. So you start out with a loan of $28,000. 5 years later, you've got a loan of $30,000 or $33,000. It's crazy. And 2 out of 10 people spend 50 to 100% of their income on their credit debt. Now, I told you I was a personal coach or a financial coach, and I work personally with a number of individuals. One client I have has a net pay of $1,700. The minimums on her credit cards when we first started coaching was $1,400. All right, that didn't include her mortgage. That did not include her car payment. That did not include utilities or food. The struggle and the crisis in the country is absolutely real. Breaking this down a little bit, I've got some statistics here and some numbers. I can provide those at the end. In fact, if you like, I will put those towards the end of the recording so you can pause the recording and actually jot those down or go find them yourself. So, but look at the debt by age group. Interestingly enough, 25 to 34 have the highest debt. Well, you know, that's not a surprise. We've got college loans and things like that that are coming out there. And you've got a lower income just starting out from college. But where do you fit in that scale? Where's your age group? And how much debt do you have? Now, we're just talking consumer debt, non-mortgage debt. Take a look at that. See how you compare to the average of the country. 20% of employees have admitted to skipping work to deal with their personal finances. I spoke with the representative, a human resource person from one of our local companies here in Lake County, and she had told me about a situation where an employee called off because he had a flat tire. He couldn't afford an Uber. He didn't have another car. He couldn't afford to get a taxi even, and he couldn't afford to get that flat tire fixed. In fact, the statistics show, there we go, stuttering, the statistics show most Americans can't cover a $400 emergency. So, of course, this employee calls off, can't come to work. What does that do for you as the business owner? Well, your productivity is down because you're losing someone. You're paying time off, unproductive hours, you're paying them. And all the other stuff that goes with that, the lack of lack of presence, and the struggle to try to get these people where they need to be. 29% of Gen Xers say personal finances distract them at work. Gen Xers, by the way, if you Google it, is age 40 to 54. Pardon me, please. Think of these things as calls with creditors or answering texts or emails about their personal finances. These are struggles that people are going through. 29%. What is that leading to, by the way? That's leading to the concept of presenteeism. We'll cover that in a minute, so hold tight. 39% of people spend at least 3 hours or 3 work hours per day thinking about or dealing with their financial problems. So what are these types of things? Consider these types of things as worrying or arguments with a spouse and concerned about that. The stress there, again, we're looking at a presenteeism issue in this situation. And 61% of human resource professionals say financial stress has an impact on employee work performance, as you can see by the previous slides. So absenteeism, we know what that is. Somebody gets the flat tire, they call off, they're not productive. Presenteeism may be even worse. They're present at work, but in their mind, they're really not there. They're present, but they're working on something other than productive hours for you at work as their boss. So we're going to move on to the solution to the problem. Financial wellness programs are a phenomenal way to go to try to end this cycle, increase your productivity, and make your employees happier, because we all know if the employee is taken care of and the employee is happy, so will your customers be. So there's 3 types of programs we can break this down to. One of them is a create your own program, specific to your people. If you're a smaller business, you know your people, you can do this. A second one is an employee assistance program, an EAP program, and or a 401k provider. Several providers are currently offering these types of financial wellness programs. Another one is a financial wellness provider specifically, and we'll cover each one of these individually. But think about this. We have healthcare wellness, physical health. We have a mental health wellness programs in most companies. But why not a financial health program? More of these are going to lead to better productivity for your employees, and it is going to affect your bottom line. So let's talk about creating your own. Consider this concept. A hospital I worked for, and as I said, I'm a registered nurse, WellSpan Health in Pennsylvania, they self-insured for health insurance, offering a $30 a month discount if I went to my doctor for an annual visit, got my blood pressure and weight checked, and had blood screening. There are actually extra incentives, like I got a Fitbit if people quit smoking, or if they join a gym, or can, through their Fitbit, prove they've gotten so many steps in per week. A financial wellness program could also work the same. You can manage it by the Human Resources Department and offer discounts on healthcare or discounts on other services or benefits you may offer that employee. If, for instance, they have an emergency fund in place, or if, for instance, they can validate and verify they have no credit card debt. You can actually offer classes in financial health and give them bonuses for attending. Now, these could be things like gifts, like a Starbucks gift card, or a monetary gift of some sort. If you have a cafe in your place of employment, free cup of coffee. There's a lot of things you can do, and you can get as creative as possible with these things. And you're going to find that when people are rewarded, they tend to move towards these programs. But we're going to talk about something more organized now, an EAP or a 401k provider program. Check with your 401k provider to see if they offer that program, but there is a caveat to that. Since they are a 401k program, they're all about the investing, and they're probably going to encourage people to invest for their retirement. Now, while we find that to be a very, very good thing, we do want to invest for our retirement. We may not want to invest today. So think of this. If we have our investments in our 401k going and we're pulling 8% on that investment, but I've got credit cards that are charging me 20% per month interest, I may want to kill those first. The bottom line is going to be much better in the end result. So speak with them, find out where their focus is, see what kind of programs they have. The whole concept behind money issues is not a math problem. We all know the math. We can go anywhere and find the math. We understand the math. The problem with finances is we're looking at a behavior problem. Does a person do a budget? Does a person follow the budget? Are they overspending? Are they spending money they don't have on credit to get the stuff they want, not the stuff they need? These are all things that are covered in a good financial wellness program. So the other option you have is a financial wellness provider. Now, there are several managed computer platforms for this that track people's bank accounts. They track their spending. Most of it is the employee will enter the information themselves and enter the milestones they have. So there's a level of trust there. They do have some incentive programs involved with those. Another option that you can offer employees is individual coaching. An individual financial coach looks at that person and their own specific situation. Or you could offer a combination of both. There are platforms for all of these, and however you can possibly construct one or however you can think it would work, probably will. They are really not that difficult. I want you to be aware, though, that if you're going to offer this as a benefit to your employees, you probably want to consider offering a discount. You don't want to pay for the whole thing. I've found that when people have some skin in the game, they're a lot more driven to succeed in that program. An employer-driven program with some incentives that has the person put their effort in up front, or discounts towards something like individual coaching, maybe covering half of that as part of your employee benefits package, may indeed be the way to go. But think of it, the investment you have. If you invest a little bit now in wellness, then you're going to have higher productivity later. Not much later, by the way. You'll be losing presenteeism. You'll be dropping your absenteeism numbers, and you're going to actually produce more and have a much better outcome in your business. So how do we do this? Well, I'm going to cover this in much more detail next week. So you'll want to tune into that, but I'm going to tap on it right now real briefly. And we're going to talk about the habits of millionaires. Over 10,000 millionaires were surveyed by a gentleman named Chris Hogan, who wrote the book Everyday Millionaire. They pay off their homes in 10.2 years. They have modest incomes. They don't risk their money. They're responsible. They practice intentionality. They're consistent. These are the type of people that you want working for you. They are working there not because they absolutely have to, but because they want to. The way we do it is quite simple. Save $1,000 for emergency right up front, so you can cover that $400 emergency, or the hot water tank going away, or that flat tire. Pay off all your debt except your mortgage. Fully funded emergency account. Then we can move into retirement and kids' education, paying off your home early, and then living like no one else. This is a phenomenal process. Now, for the details on this, again, you're going to have to tune in next week to find out what's going on. But happy to work those with you, and we're going to cover budgeting, etc., through that presentation next week. But if you can get your folks to this position where they have no debt and they have an emergency fund, anything that is a crisis today actually turns into an inconvenience. So let's talk about COVID real brief. The COVID situation, many people are out of work. Many businesses are having some trouble. Obviously, we have them closed. If there's a 3 month, just a 3 month emergency fund in place to cover the basic expenses for these 3 months, how much panic do you think there'd be? Probably a lot less than there is now. Again, panic is turned into inconvenience. So we want to talk about these. We want to get a financial wellness program set up for your employees, and we want to get you guys in a place where crisis doesn't exist. That's about it for today. I was hoping for some more people online, in truth, which we get some interaction going on, and it was going to last a lot longer. But there's the core of what we wanted to talk about today. So if you have any questions, you can certainly reach me at westernreserveconsulting@gmail.com, or you can call me at 440-209-3336. And again, my name is Steve Leskovec, financial coach, registered nurse, life skills coach, father, husband, and just all around nice guy. I'd like to just spend a minute and show the resources on the screen if I could.
Sure.
All right, yes. We'll put those on the screen. And folks, if you're looking at these and you have any questions or want to see what's going on, I'm just going to encourage you to pause it and then jot down the ones you want. And they should be pretty direct and easy. It's a backup for most of the statistics that I showed you, and I'll scroll down again. Are you seeing it?
Yes.
All right, great. So we've got it here. We'll hold that on pause for just a minute, or I'll hold that there for just a minute. You can pause. And okay, we'll move on to the next portion there. And you can pause if you want to jot any of those down or see those. And we'll move on to the next portion. And we'll move on to the next grouping. And then we'll move on to the last section.